My name is Jeremy Collins, guys. I am a nationally marketing coach for real estate. I have a passion for helping agents kind of get to the next level. And I am so excited today, guys, to be surrounded by some of the best ladies in real estate. And honestly, I'm just excited to hear the experiences, hear the stories, and that's what we're here for, to learn how we can implement what these ladies have done into our own businesses. And what I love about it is there are different perspectives that's going to be known here, right? Everybody's business is different. And for those coaches that come out and say, you do this, everybody be successful, that's just not true. And so what I love the fact is that each and every one of these ladies will represent a different element of what they've done with their business. And as you, as listeners, as me, as a listener as well, we're going to be taking notes on, can I implement that into my business? Will that work for me? And make highlights and notes to it and take a gander later on. Don't just stop there. After this workshop's over, implement. Right? That's the ones we all struggle with most of the time. We watch these awesome webinars, Ashman workshops, and we're like, man, I'm going to do that. And then 3 months down the road, we're like, dang it, I didn't do it. And so that's what we need to focus on. So before we get started, guys, I'm going to go ahead and let them introduce themselves because I could not do them justice enough. So Lisa, I'm going to get you started off. Go and introduce yourself and dive in.
All right. Hi, everybody. My name is Lisa Parento. I live on beautiful Cape Cod, Massachusetts. I have a small team here, the Lisa Sells Cape Cod team. And as I grow my organization in EXP, that is the Lisa Parento team, just thrilled to be here, thrilled to be part of the EXP Luxury. This has absolutely changed the face of my business. And I know the face of many, many people's businesses. So can't wait to hear some more and learn some more from my amazing panelists today.
Awesome. Janie, go for it.
Yep. Hey, everybody. My name is Janie Coffey. I am from historic St. Augustine, Florida, located right downtown. We love our people from St. Augustine and all over Florida. I am a member of the Luxury Advisory Council and just super excited to be on this panel with you all and share about how I have built a pretty strong referral business, and I want to learn from all of you guys and everybody else about what they've done, because that is the best of all businesses. As we know, the come list me or so-and-so said to call you, you're the person type of business. So I'm excited.
Love it. Gail, go for it.
Gail DeMarco. I actually just relocated here. So this is a great, great topic. I relocated to St. Augustine from California. Now I do still commute. I still run a team over there of 12 people, but I am building a new business here and I can't wait to share with you what I'm doing.
Love it. All right. And Miss Naples.
Hi, everyone. I'm Gianna Caudell. I actually have two real estate teams, born and raised in Northwest Indiana. So I have a team that is, I'm proud to say, #1 in the entire board, 20 out of the 26 years. So that is still going strong. I spend majority of my time in Naples, Florida, and I have a team there. So I am part of the EXP Luxury Advisory Council as well. And I love all, big or small, we sell them all, but I do love referrals. And I feel like we're pretty darn good at it. Past client referrals, sphere referrals, agent referrals, that's always been a big part of my business. So
love it.
With us having feeder markets, that's even better.
Absolutely. I love it. So just while I'm waiting, guys, before I kick this thing off, I'd love to know how many people are on a team. That's interesting because I saw a couple of people make comments. Just for my knowledge, if you're on a team, just put the #1 in the chat just for us to kind of look at and see kind of what's happening with it. Okay. So talk about referrals, guys, right? There's 3 big pillars when we're talking about referrals, right? There's agent to agent referrals. There's client to agent referrals. And then one of my favorites is business to agent referrals, and that's outside businesses, right? So let's kind of start this topic off with the agent to agent referrals, which is always exciting. There's in-network referrals and there's outside network referrals. And so let's kind of talk about agent to agent referrals. Let's go ahead and share kind of what some of how, if an agent was wanting to get started with this, right? If they've got less than 10% of their deals being from referral, where do people start? So let's start there. Who wants to jump in and just kind of give their opening opinions of how you guys got your own business started with building up your referral base? Who's up?
I'll start real fast. I would just
for it.
attend conferences. I was a baby agent. It doesn't matter how many years you've been in the business. We're all learning based and we're always learning how to do it better. But I would just attend any kind of real estate conference, period, end of story, to go and learn first and foremost. But then while I was there, I developed those relationships and friendships and they trusted me. So it was just plugging in from day one.
Let's talk about that for a minute, just for a second, dive in more. So conferences, right? We go to these conferences and there's tons of conferences all over this country, right? I think I've spoke at probably 10 in the past year. And so when you're going to these conferences, what's your goals here, right? Yes, learn. But when you're talking interactions with other agents, what's some tips and tricks you guys have done in the past to kind of make people well known that, hey, I'm in this area? So anybody got anything on that?
Lisa?
Yeah, I would say number one, before you go, make a goal for yourself. Make a goal for how many actual conversations you're going to have with new agents. Don't hang around with your friends. I mean, do a little bit, but make yourself not hang around with your friends. The first NAR conference I ever went to was my first. I didn't know anybody. And I was like, I just wanted to eat a can of worms. Like I really, I came from another vertical and I'd been in leadership there. And when I came here, I didn't know anybody. I was staying like way far away from the main part in like this crappy hotel in Orlando. But you know what? Because I didn't know anybody, it got me out of my comfort zone. I had to make friends with people. I had to attend things I never would have. And it changed that first year of my business for sure. So I would say, number one, don't hang out with your friends. Number two, have a goal before you set out. And then, have a good follow-up program. And I know that these ladies will probably address this as well. What do you do with those contacts that you get when you get home? How do you follow up? Do you do nothing?
I love it.
Probably, maybe. Do you just connect them on LinkedIn? Do you send a handwritten note, which we hear over and over and over again, what that's like a week and a half later to get a handwritten note from someone? Hey, I sat next to you or in your same row while we attended X, Y, and Z. I really enjoyed, having a cup of coffee with you. I hope that we can stay. And don't be like, I'm in Cape Cod if you ever need your, just try to really have a relationship and just be, that person.
Love it. All right. Anything else on the conference side of things, guys? The event side of things? What you got?
Absolutely.
Go ahead, Gail.
Go to the bar. That's where I do all my business. And if they don't you drink, let them drink, right? And honestly, I've done more business at the bar at conferences. And just because people are more relaxed, right? And they're done. And it's like with the feedback. And the other thing I do is I absolutely reach out to every speaker so I get to know them. Because those speakers are the ones that are doing business in their town. Yep. So I've made it a point where I've gotten up at 6 o'clock in the morning to go meet one of the speakers so I can have a cup of coffee with them. And it's face to face. I mean, I love conferences. We all get really busy, but I'm very, very intentional when I go to the conference.
Janie, go for it.
Yeah, so one of the things I always do is I make a special business card, normally just for the conference. In some of them print places, you can get like a little mini brochure, a little tiny brochure, the size of a business card that flips over. And I'll have my contact information on there, a QR code, but then also a little bit of information about the market I serve, historic St. Augustine, so that they'll save that and they'll remember that. And then I always have also little goodies made, branded to me, to give out when I'm at the conference to special people that I want to build a deeper relationship with. So most of the people here in this training, they receive daddle pepper salt or daddle pepper rub from me because it's something specific to St. Augustine, with a little card tied to it about what it was about when I was at a last conference with them. I've done little pre-loaded charging things for your phone, because that's the thing, everybody runs out of power when they're at a conference, and even use the hashtag, hey, I have chargers if your phone is dead. People love that. So getting a box of little goodies, it can't be too big to, because you have to travel with it, to be able to give out. People love that and they will remember you forever.
I love it. I think that's great to go over the follow-up. Go for it. Yeah.
I'm the recipient of one of her seasonings that she gave. And every time I open my cabinet here in Naples, Florida, I think of Janie being in St. Augustine. So it's just we do that in our local marketplaces. You want to be known. When they think real estate, they're going to think of you, but also agent referrals. You want to be able to think of that person where they live. That's awesome. Another quick little tip is, like I'm in Northwest Indiana, but nobody knows those towns. So be specific on what towns you serve. Same way with Southwest Florida. A lot of people, if you're not from here, you don't know what towns. So be detailed on some of that. Just like Janie said, using that card and being very specific about the areas that you serve.
I love that. I'm just reading through some of the comments, and that's what these masters are about. You guys sharing as well. And so I love the fact that you see Holly sells Georgia for awesome totes. That's what she remembers them by, these totes that she would be giving out. As a tech guy,
Did she have the shiny totes?
The shiny ones, yeah.
At our last conference, everybody wanted those totes. Everybody. It was
you
amazing.
create something, guys, people's going to want, and they're going to take them with. They're going to remember who gave it to you.
Absolutely.
And so,
Yeah,
as a tech guy of this group, I kind of want to share a little bit of my tech stuff for slightly on this. You can actually use a company called Thinks.io. It's pretty daggone cheap, and you can connect that to your KV Core account or your other database, whatever you use, Follow Up Boss or whatever. And when you meet somebody at these events, just drop them into your database. And by the way, you should have two databases, right? You should have a client database and an agent database. That's how you really build the most of it up, because there's constant communications going out to these other agents. But you can connect Thinks.io to it. And there's other companies that do it, but that's just one I use. And anytime I meet somebody at a conference, the next week, they will automatically get a Thinks.io card in the mail that's already pre-designed with my stuff on it. And
nice.
It works fantastic. Literally, I'm about automation. I'm not about, too much work for myself. And so it's a great way. Yep. Thinks.io is great. All right. So we talked about events, right? We talked a little bit about follow-up. Anything else on follow-up a little bit? Because I think all as agents could do better jobs of that, right? How many of us have drawers of business cards that we haven't done anything with? We all have. And so what are some tips on just on the follow-up side of things once we get somebody's information? What's your thoughts?
So I got to tell you, because I'm a prospector, I'm probably the prospector here in this group, that every day relentlessly, I am on the phone for 2 hours, no matter what. And it's the same thing with the agents. We built a killer business, in Silicon Valley, because everybody in Silicon Valley moves up to Sacramento, right? So it's on the phone. It's on the phone. It's picking up the phone, don't text. And if you pick up the phone, you make a personal connection. And that's like, even with a convention, I always come home with the cards, but it's up to me, not them. They will never follow up. Just remember that. They're not going to follow up. It's up to you to follow up. And sometimes I send nice gifts, and it depends on the agent and how much business they're doing, the connection we've had,
Awesome.
So it's all about picking up the phone. And I love the fact that you say automation, but when you're trying to get luxury listings, you have to have a voice connection with them.
Awesome. Love it. I just saw a comment just now from Jim that says, I love this because that's exactly what I do, is he takes all of his email addresses of people he met, all the agents he met at these conferences and events, and he actually sends ads to them. So maybe it's $25, maybe it's $40, whatever. And they're constantly seeing them ad every 3 to 5 months from you as the agent, just showing how awesome your area is. And it kind of reminds them to put it in your mind. Another little tip, guys, that we use all the time is after you pick a business card up, the very next thing, as soon as somebody gives you a business card, I'm talking like 5 seconds later, you walk out and you literally shoot them a video. Pull your phone out and say, hey, John, just want to tell you, it was awesome just to meet you. I just want to say hi. Hope you have a great rest of the day at the conference. Stop. And I send it to them as a text message. And if they remember it, because you're usually probably the only one to send them a video text message that day, probably even that week. So that's a great way to keep the remembrance going. Love that, guys.
Hey,
you guys
Jeremy,
are awesome.
I want to say something real fast about business cards that I learned during my days at Sotheby's from my mentor, Beth Butler. Love her. And she was very specific about how to take a business card when you're meeting anybody, and it's take it with both hands, look at it, look at both sides, and give it some reverence. Because a lot of times people just take the card and they throw it in their pocket, they throw it in your bag, and subconsciously that's making the person feel like they're being a little bit dismissed. So just take the card, take 1 second to look at it, look at the person, let them know. And I think that goes a very far way, especially in luxury, when people.
That is a fantastic tip. Absolutely. I don't think I've done some of these conferences. I don't think I've ever heard that one. So that's a great one that I've ever heard. So that's awesome. What else you got? Lisa, do you have something?
I usually draw, just to add on that, I usually like make a mental note of how I'm going to remember that person and maybe jot on it myself, while they're not looking, of course. And, just like something that was impactful for me to remember.
I love it.
And
I love it.
honestly, there's nothing wrong with taking a photo of them while they're holding up their badge. I've done that quite a bit because you're standing there having a great conversation and for me, that's like one of my number ones besides the digital business cards. I love my bling because when they download me, I have them and it's quick and you're in the hallway and you're off.
And if you really want to take that to the next step, guys, stand beside them, take a nice little, selfie photo with them, and then post it on your social media channels and tag them in it. Because that not only shows that, hey, you are, meeting more agents, you're showing your sphere that you're connecting and learning at the conference, but it's also showing, hey, we're going to get back and we're going to connect with them. So I think that's a great option. All right. So events, we've talked a lot about that. Let's kind of switch gears slightly and let's talk about, how do you build up that network, right? So network's a big key for a lot of us, right? I know all you ladies have your own network, people that love you, trust you, that follow you stuff on social media. How do you eventually start that agent-to-agent network? What's some of the thought process that goes, and what's some of the tips you could share us today of building your own network up? So who wants to go first?
Oh,
You
I'll
mean
definitely
for
jump in.
agents?
Oh,
Yeah, go for it. Yeah, go.
all
Go
right.
for it. Lisa, you go first.
I will definitely jump in because this is kind of something that, this is something that's super important to me, and I think everybody can make a real impact. I have always been kind of a serial volunteer, and I do that same thing in our association. So I volunteer at the local, state, and national level at NAR, and I also volunteer at the Residential Real Estate Council. And volunteering for me helps me feel like I'm contributing to something that's a little bigger than myself. It also makes me feel good. It makes me feel like I'm contributing. And I think, Tony Robbins talks about the 6 human needs, and growth and contribution are number 5 and number 6, right? So when we are contributing, and someone put something in the chat earlier that said that they were, I think the president of the California Association or something. And so over time, first of all, make sure that everybody knows where you're from. I don't think there's anybody on the planet that doesn't know I'm from beautiful Cape Cod, because I say it on everything. It's on everything. It's in my signature file. It's on everything. So, and I see, I know that Jenna always has Naples, and because she's in the 2 markets, but in every Zoom, every opportunity, I make sure that people know I'm from Cape Cod. So that's a piece of it. Number one is to make sure that your branding is associated with the area that you serve. And I've heard ladies say that as well. But when you're in that volunteer capacity, you're meeting people from all over the country that share a lot of the same interests that you do. The committees that I sat on for NAR, the committees that I sat on for our state, which for me is supporting RPAC, the Realtor Political Action Committee. For me, it's supporting government affairs. I'm like a political junkie. I love that stuff. So when I'm on one of those committees, I'm with my other junkies that love that same stuff. So we have a natural connection. And then it's more natural for them to remember, oh yeah, my client wants to look for a second home on Cape Cod. Let me call Lisa Parento. And that has absolutely served my business and my luxury business in so many ways. I've shared here before my involvement with the Realtor Political Action Committee. I am a major investor. I'm a Golden R President Circle major investor, like a really major investor. But the other people who are Golden R President Circle investors are all working in the luxury space.
Love it.
And so when I'm with them, I'm at the tables with people that have luxury clients and are working in luxury real estate from all different brokerages all across the country. And oftentimes we're in conferences where, we have sessions in the morning, but the whole afternoon is spent at the pool, at the beach, on kayak trips, whatever it is that we're doing. So we're having that connection time, but it's the tables that you find yourself at. It's the groups that you're part of. And that's a big piece of my luxury referral business, is those agents. And we'll talk a little bit more about follow-up. I want to hear what everyone else has to say.
Janie, I think you're going to mention something, I think.
Oh, I have always been, maybe out of naivete, I don't know, but from my very beginning of being a real estate agent, always wanting to help and work and educate other agents, regardless of what it's about. So I have done lots and lots and lots and lots of free training for agents, both at other brokerages or paid training for other brokerages or at events or organizations, in Facebook and Instagram, whatever. I'm just very, very passionate about sharing things. And my business partner, when I owned a brokerage in the past, it drove her nuts because she always thought, oh my gosh, you're giving away all our secrets. I was like, first of all, 90% of people aren't going to do it. We just know that. That's human nature. And, and second of all, the goodwill goes very, very far. So I have always, no matter where I've lived, what brokerage I'm with, whatever, I've always just tried to get really involved, brokerage agnostic as far as training and helping. I even in the very beginning of tech for real estate had created a group in Miami called RE TechNet. And we were having Twitter. Remember, it used to have like a Twitter meetup. Yep. Tweet ups. We had big tweet ups in Miami, and some of it, I mean, we're bonded forever. That's like 15 plus years ago now. So that has resulted in always incoming business as we've moved around, as we've changed niches, locations, brokerages, just staying connected to the people, because people really appreciate when you're helping them with some kind of information or something that's going to make something easier for them. Kind of like with Lisa and her volunteerism, mine was more training based, or has been is still training based.
Yeah. I'll piggyback on that. I think I know all of these lovely ladies, and I think all of us are 100% committed to our industry and making it the best it possibly can be. One, we're all learning based, and we want to be the best we can be and be relevant. However, we're all givers. And, from the beginning, my motto was always, you win in life by helping others, and to whom much is given, much is expected. So I think if you come from that abundance mentality versus the scarcity, that you always win in life. So I think all of us ladies, I'm going to say, I know each and every one of you, and I can see that about this group for sure. But all top agents, if you look around, whether it's their local community that they're giving and leading and being a part of and making huge impact, or if it's realtor to realtor, people want to be around that. People want to do business with other people that are like that.
Yeah.
That's awesome. I think I've seen a couple of words come through the chat, authenticity. And I think that's a key word when it comes to portraying yourself to other agents, right? I know too many speakers that's been through the circuits that are not who they are on the stage as they are in person. And I think that you as agents and everybody here, and I can test for all these ladies, I've already met them all, and they're exactly who they are, on and off stages. And I think that's a big key is, I'm going to make up words on the stage just like I make up words in person, and I'm going to be who I am. And I think that's an element that a lot of agents lose. They try to be somebody they're not. And people can pick up on that nowadays, guys. And so be who you are. Own who you are and roll with it. And that will help you guys get more referrals big time just by relating to where people are. And so I think those are great tips. All right. So we talked about follow-up. We talked about, events. I know a couple of questions came in. I'd love for you guys to drop some of your favorite events inside the chat, if you would, when you have time. I think those are just good questions that people are always asking. Let's kind of shift gears and talk about this agent to client or client to agent referrals, right? It's a huge part of a lot of your guys' businesses. And I would love for you guys to share kind of what are some things you've had to implement into each of your businesses that have impacted clients so much that they want to give you people. They want to, when they meet people and they're like, I'm moving, you're like, oh, you got to talk to, and that's what we're looking for. So kind of share, guys, if anyone wants to start off, that's awesome. Go for it. Let's kind of dive into the conversation about, implementing some of these excellent tips and tricks into their business to get more referrals.
I'll give you a script that I use from the get-go. Usually when I'm at the listing table, especially trying to, earn their trust and their business. And I just basically say from the start, I am not in it for a one-time commission. I'm in it for you to always refer your friends, your family, and to be your go-to, and for you to trust me. So I think that just kind of like lowers their, where, okay, I've got a salesperson here, and they just know that this isn't a one-time thing for me. I'm not in it for the long haul, and I want them to know, trust me, and feel confident in my ability so that they can refer me. So I set the stage from the start that I want referrals.
I love it.
Yeah.
What else?
I usually don't wait till after we close the deal, because I just closed a deal here, and right when we had our, big win right before, actually it was 2 days ago, they're like, oh my gosh, we feel like God brought you in our life, and thank you so much. We couldn't have done this. This was a FSBO I went after it, And so at the end of the day, I said to him, I go, would really, really help me. I'm new in this area. If you could give me, a great 5-star Google review, but even more importantly, can you give me 2 names of people that, and they also run a Facebook group. I said, can you give me a testimony in there? So don't wait till after, because they're busy. They're super, super busy.
Point.
And then, it's not like they don't want to, but you got to get it right before they close when you have that big win. Like they just won the last contingency, they just wired the money. Something like, that is like huge, where they go, the stress is off.
Man, Gail, you just mentioned something I just literally talked about in a workshop I just hosted, and I love it, is the fact that you have to ask for it sometimes. Yeah, you do have to set the expectation saying, hey, especially if they are social media people, right? A lot of our clients are on social media hot and heavy, and some have some big influence. And honestly, if you don't ask for it, they may not do it. And I'm all about saying, hey, would you mind giving me a shout out? That's just how I do my business. And they do. And how many times people I've gotten just from that alone of other people sharing, because it's social proof. That shows that I could tout myself all day long, guys, but it really means nothing until someone else touts how awesome I am. That's when it really kicks in. And I think that's the key. Great points, Gil. Those are awesome. Anybody else, Janie, Lisa, anything on tips to kind of set expectations, right? That's what we're trying to do.
Well, I love what Gail said. I mean, it's so important. I just always hear Brian Buffini saying, make sure you ask them for the referral just in case things take a left at some point. So when it's like at a super high point, and they just think, as Gail said, that God sent you to, and then we have those conversations all the time. God bless. And you hope it's going to be afterwards as well. You hope you're going to get, I just had a transaction where 2 days later, the mother sent me pictures of the 2 little skinny dipping in the pond, and I could pass that on to the sellers. And you love those times, but they don't always go that way, right? So when it's really at that sweet, sweet, sweet point, that's a good time to ask them for the referral if you're good at it. I know, Gil, you're probably much better at that kind of stuff than
Seriously, one thing I do that works amazing, I always use bomb video too, right?
Love
so
it.
I'll get on my knees and I'll get up like this and go, sorry, I was praying, I was on my knees. I'm really hoping that, and just, make it a little more personable, because I'll ask them in person, but then I'll send them a bomb video with the links. And I don't do Zillow, because Zillow is going to take us over anyway. I only do Google, because Google is where, you want to have 250 reviews. For me, I've gotten more phone calls from our Google reviews than anything else.
Good for you.
Absolutely. Google is where it's at. I believe it. And so, you mentioned another bomb video, guys. If you're looking to set the stage with your clients, people want personality. People want, what you have to give, and they'll probably already love you. You just got to kind of show them more often, why they love you. And that's these videos that you're doing to send out to your clients, whether it be text message or email or anything like that. Those are great mediums on that. Janie, all right, what you got? Anything on like setting the stage for this expectations that you're expecting to get, later on?
Actually, I'm probably the black sheep of this conversation, because I don't do that.
Love it.
Maybe I should be better about it, but I've also done really well getting referrals. And I think part of that is just like all of us, delivering really great service. But I do try really hard to stay in touch on an ongoing basis with my clients, because I sell for the most part a niche, historic specialty properties. There's often like a passion bond with my sellers and my buyers. So we always kind of have that on top of that, because we're passionate about St. Augustine historic properties. And then I just stay in great touch. If they've moved out of town, I always keep them up to date what's going on in town, because we're a small community, and it's nice for them because they're able to be kept in touch. They normally still have friends here. They often still visit here. So just keep in touch, little gifts, little thoughtfulness. I have my kind of top list of people who get postcards from me, because I travel a lot to normally different type of places, unique places. So I'll send postcards, like handwritten postcards, and they love that. And that's always worked really, really well for me.
Okay, I mentioned that in another workshop I do, because you mentioned it in one of our workshops in the past, that you actually, when you travel, and that's a passion of yours, right? So when you travel, you're sharing your passion with some of your clients. And so you're sharing these personal pieces. And honestly, that's what the big differentiating factor is. You may not have to ask for referrals so much, because people already know you. People already feel like they can travel with you when you send them postcards from places you're going, and they feel like they're part of your family. And I think that's the key is, as agents, how do how do we make them feel? And I like to go beyond that. So how do you actually make them be part of your family in a way, right? To join you on this journey of real estate, join you on this thing, so other people want to be part of that. I mean, I saw somebody, I think Garrett, I saw mentioned down here earlier that, you know, he was struggling with social media stuff. And Garrett, I think the big key, guys, is share a little bit of yourself, right? As well as, you know, go a little bit farther than that and share educational pieces. That's where I would start. If I'm an agent right now and I was just starting out in the luxury space and I wanted to kill it, I would start in education. I would start on, you know, doing these short, you know, 4 or 5 minute YouTube short educational videos on what I'm passionate about. And if you do there, you're going to succeed. I mean, people are going to look at it and be like, oh, wow, he really does love what he does. And that's the elements we're trying to accomplish. So I absolutely
Even
love
lessons learned, Jeremy. Our team, we call it an unteam team. We share lessons learned every single Monday.
Wow.
Because my pain might, if I share my pain, I might save Lisa from something. I might save Gail from something, or Jana from something. And so if you're new and you're like, I don't know what to share, first of all, you do know something to share, because you can share about your community. You can share about your passions. You can share about new businesses opening up. You can share those things, no problem. But if you just learned something, share that. Like, we are still, even if we've been in the business 10, 15, 20, 30 years, we're still learning new things every single day. So share those lessons learned, share those fun things that might, like the Hometown Heroes Fund is about to expire, or maybe it expired yesterday. That's not a knowledge-based thing that you need to be in business more than 30 seconds to know, but sharing that kind of stuff that might help them, I think, is very useful. So don't think you don't have anything to share because you're new.
I love that. So now you mentioned, I think several of you guys mentioned that, you know, the follow-up strategy on these agents. So the deal's done, right? What are some things, just maybe things you guys do personally in your business? I know she shared that she does postcard stuff. You know, what are some things that you know that you feel like have moved the needle for you in getting these referrals and being able to stay in touch with contacts? Because it's hard. It's hard to stay in constant contact with these people. And so how do you guys do it? So I saw Jana raise her hand, then I saw Lisa. Go for it. Oh,
Jana.
We have a database, obviously, so we stay in touch with them. One of the things too is we do the orphan client. So if it was my listing and another agent brought that buyer, we automatically put them in, because 9 times out of 10, the agent goes out of the business, or the agent doesn't stay in touch with them anyway. So they automatically get on our, you know, database and our touches. We touch our clients. We 8 by 8 them. Or actually 36 touch them, so to speak. But, you know, we're always doing things and just staying in the house. I actually send handwritten thank yous to the agent, the client, if we represented the seller, but also to that buyer, thanking them for purchasing one of my listings, and just coming from a place of not trying to steal them, but just offering and thanking them for buying one of my listings. And if there's ever anything, you know, we can do for you or answer any questions on behalf, you know, thank you, etc. I actually have sold a lot of those homes and relisted them because they felt like I cared about them and they didn't get any communication from their existing agent.
So Christina asked, is that ethical from a point of view? And I mean, yeah, it's you're an agent that cares
for buying one of my listings, you know, and then I
love that. I think that's an element that every real estate agent could add in, because we're always trying. I'm a big database guy, guys. And so if you've talked to me more than 5 minutes, you know, I'm believe in databases, and if you work them, they're going to work for you and they're going to build your business for you. So if you can add another element to it, another column of people that you've done transactions with that you didn't represent, by gosh, I'm going to add it. And I'm going to friend them on Facebook even, and I'm going to let them see my stuff and just how I roll. So that's a fantastic idea. I love that.
Add something to that. A great
go for it.
way to do it ethically is usually 2 weeks after you close the deal. And we were so good at this, and we kind of took our foot off the gas, and we're just putting it back on right now. We have a beautiful vendor book, and we're like, you know, here's the gardener, here's the great character, here's the painter, and I could share that with anybody. I have it in Canva. You put, and of course, you know, the first page and last page has your information on it, right? So my nickname, I was at church in California a week ago, and this girl runs up to me and hugs me. She's like, Gail's got a guy, right? That's my nickname, Gail's got a guy, because I do have a guy for everything. So that's, so now you're giving them something, right? And we call it Adopt the Buyer program. And I insist that my title people give me the names of the buyers so we can market to them, because their agents never get in touch with them. We've just taken our another listing from when we were the listing agents, and they never called their buyer's agent. So I agree. That's good stuff.
I love that, guys. If you took anything from this golden nugget, there's one right there that, to add to it. And that's definitely another source, right? That you could pick up people in the future. Because guys, we are not in this for the short term. We're in this for the long term. That's kind of agents we are. And I think that's the key. We're not thinking short term, we're thinking long term. And those are long-term strategies to grow your businesses. I love that. All right, what else you got? Anybody else got any good points on follow-up?
So we created a referral program. I realized that, I always heard about referral programs for your sphere, and a lot of people live in a neighborhood, and I did a lot of Brian Buffini for years, who I still love and still do a lot of his stuff. And, the whole pop by culture and how great that was. And most of my people don't live here. So I was always like, well, I'd love to do a pop by, but I can't deliver whatever. So as my business evolved over time and my business became so much more agent referral, obviously you're paying a 25% referral fee on top of that, but that's a big piece of my business. And so we started to curate a monthly, they're in a very special list, and we started to create a monthly email where we send out information that's really something fun that's happening on Cape Cod. I send out the statistics for the month before, there's a little thing, but there's linked to a Google Doc. And then I have a little, like I was just talking about how bittersweet September or August is, and that it was only like the 20th of August, but there was a little voice in the back of my head saying, apples, apple cider, fall breeze. And I'm like, no, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to stay right here. I'm going to, enjoy every drip. So I put something of myself in there as well. But there's also something about, truthfully, there's something about EXP at the bottom of that always. Now something about EXP luxury. About our schedule for the future, about what opportunities people can take. So there's like a little piece of that, but basically it's every month I'm touching this group, and I asked them as I got started, do you want to hear about stuff from beautiful Cape Cod? So if nothing else, in their inbox, they're getting, sharks, like whatever. They're getting information about Cape Cod every month. So they'll remember what's happening. And then at Christmas, the last couple of years, it takes a little bit of time, and my executive assistant will reach out to make sure we have current good mailing addresses, but that's not a giant group. It's probably under 100. It is. And so I have sent out something at the holidays, right? Like one year I sent You Are a Badass, the desk calendars, which, by the way, I'm in love with desk calendars because that thing is on somebody's desk the whole year. The little rip-off desk calendars. Yep. I just did one on gratitude this last year, but 2 years ago I did You Are a Badass. And then I was like stuck on Sean Aker for a while, and I literally sent everybody the Happiness Advantage. And, it costs a little bit of money. You're going to look between $5 and $10 per, but it's the holidays, and they will always remember that they got a book called The Happiness Advantage. And every time they see it up on their shelf, or the desk calendar, which I'm really happy about. So I continue to try to find a way to really honor that group of agents. Because that's a target market for me, not just for transactions, but also to build my organization in EXP. So that's a big awesome part of my focus.
I love it. And guys, it really is about, trying to stay in focus with your clients, right? Making them understand that, it's not their job. And I don't know who said this, but I absolutely love it. And I've said it from the stage many times is, it's not our job. It's not their job to remember what you do every day. It's your job to remind them. And many of the agents that I coach, they kind of look at me and they go, Jeremy, I don't want to bother them. I feel like I'm bothering. I'm like, no, you are not bothering them. They're not unsubscribed yet. If they're not unsubscribed, you're not bothering them enough. And honestly, I just feel like you have to tell them more often, right? So I think we've hit that. The one other kind of section I want to hit in this mastermind, guys, was business referrals. So, I don't know if anybody has experience in that. I would love for you guys to share a little bit about this business connections you guys can make locally, but also nationally, of getting some of the referrals from these business partners. So who's got it?
Well, I do it pretty well. I believe in Michael Mayer's 7L book, who is basically just about how to refer people. And so, again, it kind of goes back to you win in life by helping others. I come up from a place of how can I refer that person? How can I give them business? And then typically it just comes back to me. So I'm always trying to connect the people and how can I be a problem solver? And, oh, you need to meet this person. And so I think you just do that locally. One of the things that we have is a local Facebook group that we started. I am not huge on social media. I see a lot of people saying, I don't like it. I don't like it. So what do I do? I was a part of Michael Mayer's Referco group, and he put out a 30-day challenge and challenged us to all start a Facebook group in our local communities. And I was kicking and screaming saying, I don't want to do this, but let me tell you, because I took action, I have a Facebook group in my local town with 30,000 Facebook members.
Love it.
And so we are we are already known there. But if you're coming from a place of contribution, and I never mentioned that I'm in real estate ever. It's not named anything real estate. They obviously see my name. It's a group by me, but it's called Crown Point Neighbors Helping Neighbors. And it came from basically just helping. And that is a referral source. If you go on there, you're going to see everybody and their brother referring people back and forth. And it just comes from a place of value. I never mention I'm in real estate.
I love it. Anybody else got?
I've always had great success with if a new business is opening up, because we're business people and we know what it's like for other business people, other entrepreneurs, especially if they're just starting to get exposure. So if a new business is opening up or having, I don't know, an expansion, an event, try to go make a video about it, share it on our social, share it on our YouTube. They're excited about it because somebody else is, we get so tired sometimes of feeling like we're promoting ourselves that if somebody else promotes us, we're so thankful. So they're excited about it because they feel like somebody actually cares about their business, because we know how hard it is to be entrepreneurs. But then they're also normally sharing that with their social contacts. So just helping promote other business owners is great.
Awesome.
And before I forget, there's one thing I want to share that I saw a fellow agent do that I thought was super smart. They were newer to business, but they made a little graphic in Canva that said, I'm open in referrals for such and such with a QR code or something. And they cold texted that or DM'd it out, Instagram Messenger and things like that, to people in feeder markets for where they serve. And they hand selected people that are doing the type of business they want to do, i.e. luxury. That's why we're here. And I saved it and I showed it to my whole team and I sent it to my whole team because I was like, this is like a really, really smart thing. People aren't doing that. So that's just a little tip I forgot to say
Awesome.
with the other section about the agent to agent referrals.
Very awesome. Anybody else?
I love divorce attorneys. They're the best. They go into we have PV over here. So I've already sent out, 4 personal notes, and I've had messages, and I have one meeting set up with divorce attorneys, because what do we need right now? We need motivated sellers, right? Motivated sellers. So if you've been divorced, you are experienced at this. I would say, definitely, and for me, I'm in a brand new area. So I'm looking for, there's a big billboard, it's like men divorced only. I'm like, I used to be a man. I could be really good at this, but anything you can to bring in, I really wasn't a man, but I mean, it is prospecting. We were prospecting. And that's what we're doing. We're prospecting, whether it's agents or clients, and if you're afraid to ask for something, guess what? I was shocked. So today I was doing an agent, I called the very first broker I worked with. He has 12 agents, and I was so nervous. And I wanted to explain to him about EXP, because honestly, I was sitting there with my husband. He's like, you should tell Matt. Oh my God, what it's done for us. You should tell Matt. And I called him. I was waiting for rejection. He's like, Gail, I would love to sit with you. I'd love to. People want to hear from you. And if you're calling your sphere for referrals, great. But if you're calling strangers, be really confident. And I could give you a really great script on how to get through to the gatekeepers of the divorce attorneys. So.
Very cool. I think that's a great thing that we're always trying to, especially in these markets like we're in, right? We just got to find ways that work. And honestly, these business owners, they have people already. And that's the biggest thing you got to know is these people have people, and I just want to reach out to them, to their people through the business owner. And you do that by making connections, right? You do that by giving them a help. If you can help them out a little bit, they'll help you out a little bit. And that's just how business is made. So I absolutely love that connection. Anything else on the business side, guys, you want to share about, working with businesses, partnering with businesses to grow that referral from a business partner standpoint?
I
The
think
one-
really,
Oh,
go ahead, Lisa.
Go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, just remember all our affiliated type businesses, stagers, lenders, insurance companies. We always think mortgage, but we forget about all the other people that buyers and sellers come in contact with, and stagers, people who clean up, people who paint to prep a house, mailmen. They're often great. So just all the other people coming in contact with the people that we'd like to serve, and how can we help their business? In turn, it helps us. We've been super successful with that, especially title.
Yeah. Love it. Lisa, do you have something you want to put in?
We are an attorney state, so we don't work with title the same way that you guys do. I get so envious when I hear about you guys getting lists of people and all this. We don't have any such thing. But what we do certainly here on beautiful Cape Cod, it used to be like 19%, and I believe it's over 25% of our residents are 65 or older. So probate attorneys and elder law attorneys, similar to what Gail was saying about divorce. Now it does, with the proviso that it would be recommended you get some additional skill set training, because there are things about working with that special population that it's a good thing to know. Working with elders and or working in probate, especially probate, it's a much longer sales cycle. You can typically get a couple of more apples or at least one more apple for the transaction, which is always nice because it is, working with an estate attorney. It has the great beauty in some cases of being very just transactional, like not emotional. I mean, because it's you're dealing with an attorney. But on the other hand, sometimes you're dealing with 7 beneficiaries. And that does take some additional skill set training, because there's always one who felt like they did all the work and they're mad at all the other ones. There's like a lot of kind of hotbeddy stuff, just like with divorce. But it is an amazing service also to be a good realtor in those situations. That's important service to our profession. So that's a big one here on Cape Cod for sure.
That's awesome. All right, guys. So lots of golden nuggets during this session, guys. Anything from, agent to agent, agent to client, client to agent, business referrals. We just have to find ways to add that as a pillar into your marketing plan. Add it a pillar into your business. So as you're moving forward to, working on your next year's marketing plan, that may be something you need to make some notes on, right? What can I do right now in my business to generate more referrals? So that's awesome. So I know I've got tons of resources coming out. I know Gail's going to share some resources with me in the chat. I'll definitely try to get those out to you guys via email after this session's over. And if you guys need anything else from me, feel free to reach out to us via work chat. We'd love to try to help you best way we can. Lisa, go for it.
I want to mention one other thing that we have not talked about today, and that is to really be aware of the migration patterns in and out of your area. This is a huge piece for referral. There's actually a site, I'm going to put it in the chat after I finish talking about, that really, you can really identify where people from your area are going to other places. There's a lot of census data that's really hard to get through, but there are other third parties that do this kind of work. And that's a good place if you don't know where to start. If somebody was asking about conferences, if a lot of people are moving from here to some part in California, and then the NAR conference happens to be in Anaheim, California, that would be a very good thing to attend. So just keeping in mind what those migration patterns are. I know I love to keep in touch with all my friends in Florida, of which 3 of them are here, because there's a lot of people that leave my area and head down to Florida, at least in the winter. So it's really good to have those kinds of mutually beneficial relationships with agents in those markets.
That's awesome. If you share that link, that'd be awesome, Lisa. That'd be amazing. Thank you.
And I want to add on to that.
To tag on to what Lisa said, I think that one of the big differences when you start selling luxury is many of our clients don't just own one property. Yeah. They own 2 properties, 3 properties. I always ask, where else do you own property, or where are you thinking about owning property? And so far, the highest number, one woman had 11 properties. I never met her. I only met her and these were personal properties. They weren't investment properties. I only met like she had a full-time staff person who just went and checked on all the properties constantly. But what that does is it allows us to become their real estate advisors rather than their real estate salespeople. So just like Lisa was saying, knowing where people are coming and going to or have interest in buying, if I knew that a client of mine had property that or they owned or wanted to buy in beautiful Cape Cod and maybe in Crown Point, Indiana, I could on a quarterly basis, send them market reports. I would get with Lisa, I would get with Jana and get market reports for the 3 areas and start to really position myself as their luxury real estate advisor, just like their stock advisor or their financial planner rather than a salesperson, because then they start to think of anytime they are going to do something or family's going to do something with real estate, they're like, oh, let's get with Janie. She can help find us somebody there. She can help oversee that. She can be that conduit. So we're not by ourselves. So always be thinking and asking that question, where else do you own property or thinking of buying, and make connections there and stay in front of your client with information of that market. And they will always go to you for a referral.
So here's how I just got a $2 million buyer. I'm trying to figure out where are the buyers coming to Florida. I know where they come from, Sacramento, they come from Silicon Valley. So there they have a coming soon. You can actually reach out to the agents. Hey, Gail DeMarco here, top luxury agent here in El Dorado Hills. Where's your buyers going? I mean, your sellers going. So we've made a lot of connections that way. Well, here, I'm just calling people in New York, Connecticut, and Jersey. And the guy's like, well, these people are actually not going to Florida, but I have another client that is going to Florida. Tell me more about you. Send me your resume. So find out. I asked my title people, where are the people coming? Where are they coming from? Thank you so much, Jana. I didn't have this. I mean, Lisa, for this website. That's great too. But I'll call those listing agents, edify them. Man, that is a killer listing. Just curious, where do most of your buyers move to? Just want to introduce myself to you and just have a conversation. They will tell you everything you need to know about themselves.
That's awesome.
I'm going to add real quick to that. Obviously in Florida, I know my state feeder markets. And then I not only do I know the state, but I know what cities are the most popular feeder cities. So recently I'm collaborating with some fellow EXP agents that are in those cities. And we are doing collaboration marketing together so that they can put on all their marketing, when it's cold and everything, especially, they'll put it there so that they'll go to them for the referral. And then they think they refer it to me. So we're actually working on marketing plans on that too. And so what happens is most of your MLSs, at least mine here, has a way of, if I get the zip codes from that agent, let's say they're coming from New Jersey or New York and it's cold there. And she's like, I know these are the zip codes that I serve. We pull those zip codes here and we can find out who already owns properties in Naples, Bonita Springs, Marco Island, et cetera. And then that's who they're going to target as well, because they already know they own a home here.
That's awesome. Guys, I hope you guys hit some good notes, at least wrote down at least one thing you're going to implement into your business over the next month that will help with this kind of topic, right, of getting more referrals. To wrap up, guys, I know I had a few questions come in about EXP Luxury. I just want to take a quick note and just say, guys, thank you guys so much for listening for this. Thank you guys so much. Thanks for the panelists to share their expertise with us. It's how we all grow together. And that's what, EXP Luxury is really about, is helping each other grow to the next levels they want to reach. And every single week we do workshops like this, whether it be a vendor workshop, whether it be a panel discussion on a certain topic. And so, we're trying to become a big family, and that's the goal, is figure out how we can help each other out. And that's the passion that I see these ladies have on a consistent basis. So guys, if you have any questions about any of that stuff, I know we have another onboarding session about at least once a month. I do a live onboarding session and we do them every week with other people. So if you have any questions about any of that stuff, feel free to reach out to us. Any of these ladies would be glad to answer any of your questions about EXP Luxury as well. And our heart and passion, honestly, should have been on stage here to show that, we want to help. Well, we want to share what's working for us in the industry. And so, ladies, thank you so much for joining me. Thank you for your time. It's so meaningful for me, and I'm sure it's meaningful for everybody else. Lots of thank yous coming in. So, guys, reach out. Hope you guys go sell some nice homes this week. And if you need questions about anything, feel free to reach out to us anytime. Ladies, anything on the sum up?
Thank you, Jeremy, so much for all of your service.
Maybe this one thing is, a lot of these are typical things you do regardless of the price point. But what happens is because we've done them so well for all price points, it leads to the large price points.
That's great.
So I noticed someone said something about, I thought this was just for luxury. It's like, no, this is no matter who you're talking about. And because of that, we've been honored and able to serve the luxury clients because they want to be taken care of. They want to know that we're treating their money like it's our money, and it doesn't matter what price point, but that's led to luxury sales.
And I want
that.
to say, I use
love
that. I say one of the top agents I know, Jana Cottle, I really do. I said, Jana's, her tagline is big or small, we sell them all. And so I say, and so I feel that same way. I quote you all the time, Jana.
I love that, guys.
say
Take
that,
take
it's
what
true.
you've learned today, guys, implement into your business, no matter if you're doing luxury now or not, and keep taking care of those clients then, and they're going to keep coming back. And that's the goal. All right, guys, take care. Have a great rest of your day.
you.
And
Thanks, guys.
blessed.
I learned a lot too.
Thanks, guys.